What's up, Blue Chips? Yet another red day, and this actually caps off the first time in my trading career that I've actually had an all red week. Let's get to it. All right, traders, so we had a little bit of a light bulb moment later in the day, but to start our day off, we had SFM right out of the gate. And this was a little bit of an interesting one. We didn't quite get in on the front side. We let this thing kind of form a high. It went to 1934, and we saw it coming back down towards 19, and we hit the button. We actually got filled at 1901 for our starter size, and this thing pretty much dropped almost right away. It actually popped back up to 1910 because the ask was still above 19, and then it just plummeted. So we didn't really get a chance to add here. But later in the day, I'm going to show you a different trade that I pretty much actually just took about an hour ago and show you what I'm actually looking to do with these trades. Now, on to the one that got me today, EGO, otherwise known as EGO. This thing popped right out of the gate as well. We jumped in for the 850 pop. It actually went through and we were getting back in as it was going back down through. We actually got 848, or no, we got 850. And then on the second entry, we got, why does it say 848? 850. And then, oh, that's right, because I took two. Okay, so I got in as it was coming back down through 850. It went down a little bit, popped back up, and it went through 50, and then started to come back down, and we jumped in for half of our full size with another 30 shares. We started with 30, we added another 30. There's actually two triangles here. Let me see if I can zoom in here so you guys can see it. You can kind of see it under there, but there is two there, a 30 and a 30, 850 and 840. Well, yeah, it shows both of them right there, 848 and 850. So it started right as I hit the button again. It actually shot up through high of day. So we knew we had one more add left, which was to get the full size. Let me scroll back out here. So as we got the full size on that pop, it decided to just keep going, right? And we had that was kind of our mistake, was we added too close. We needed to give this a little bit more room. But in hindsight, as you can see, it wouldn't have mattered. We still would have stopped out. So, but I wanted to give it room to 9 to hit our max loss. So if we would have waited a little bit more, we would have been fine. But as it was coming up, it looked like we found a top here at 890. So as it was starting to come back down, we actually bottom ticked this candle, 878, and that was the low of that candle, and then it shot right back up, right? It was a little bit of a fake break to the downside, and it shot right back up, and we put our stop at 901, figuring if 9 didn't want to hold, we were going to get stopped out because it was going to squeeze even higher, because it started to feel like a grinder anyway. So we got out of this trade, and then as it made that pop up there, we actually jumped back in just for smaller share size, not really looking to do the 112 again. We were just kind of doing a right or right out type trade here. We ended up actually pretty much nailing the top, 919. Our order was at 915, and we took it off at the 9 break because it kind of felt like it was holding. As you can see, the candle before it tried, and then it started to try again. It just couldn't get through. And then, of course, right after I got out, it dumped all the way to 885. But, you know, that is just how it is. But as you can see, again, in hindsight, throughout the rest of the day, it did end up climbing, and it ended up getting almost up to 10. So up there on the daily, it still has room up towards that $10 area, a little bit above it actually, so it might end up there by the end of the day. Who knows? So on to the next trade, which was an afternoon trade. We were just kind of moseying around, playing with the kiddo. We laid him down. The wife had her half day. She came home. We spent a little time with her, ate some lunch, all that good stuff, and I came and sat back down. And literally, like, as I sat down, I saw DK going off on the scanner. So I pulled it up, and it was like right as it was going through yesterday's low. So I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. A lot of volume came in. So I scrolled out, and I was like, okay, let's see if we can actually get through yesterday's high. So it did, and it felt like it was starting to slow down. We had just went through 28, which was a pretty key area, and it felt like it was the top, right? I was kind of feeling it out. So I jumped in for a starter, just in case it wanted to continue. And as I realized that we were still going down, it had formed a top, at least temporarily. So I jumped in for full size, right? Starter was 15. So full size is 16, right? 15, 15, and 30 would be the 112. So I added 45 shares here, and sure enough, we hit the top. But as we came down, I was hoping to get down there towards 28. I actually had an order for half my shares at 28. I think it was 03. But as you can see, we never got down there. The lowest we got was 28.07. So it like bounced right off of where my order was. We ended up taking the fill here at 28.16. And we were looking, obviously, since we took half, we were looking for this thing to kind of just fall over. Gave it a chance for sloppy seconds, but it went right to high of day, so we stopped out. And as you can see, it ended up continuing, so it was a good stop as always. So I'm fine with my cuts right now. I'm doing really great at getting the cuts. That was always one of my biggest problems. So the fact that I'm getting those in is awesome, right? That's a good thing. So as DK was happening, eBay started to go off. Now, looking at this trade, it might look a little confusing, and that's for good reason. But anyways, let's take a look at the trade first. We had so I don't know why I said yesterday's low earlier. This is actually yesterday's close, and then this is yesterday's high. So when we scroll in just a little bit, the volume started coming in. Have no idea why, but it just shot up. And then right when it got to about 38.20, it started to kind of halt a little bit, but you could just tell that the bid wasn't dropping at all. So I waited. And sure enough, we get the pop right through 38.50, squeezed up to 38.74, and we took our first entry. This was our first one up top here at 38.64. And just to show you guys, here's my orders. These arrows going down, my entries, were actually in reverse order. So I was actually adding as I went down, but I'm going to get to that in a second. I wish I had this one live because this one I would have liked to show you. So we get in, we realize it's going down, and unlike the trade I just took on DK, for some reason I didn't get full size here. It kind of happened really quick, and I had the share size to add if it wanted to keep going when we first got in, and it dropped pretty quick, so I didn't really have time to get full size. So I just hit what I had there, which was another 15. So we were at 30, and then it popped back up over 50. It was like sitting at 52, and it went to break down through 50 again. You could just kind of see it happening. So I hit the button as it was at 50, and it just flew through 50. And we actually got a fill all the way down at 32. An 18-cent slippage trying to get in with to get full size, which was half of the share size that we already had. So, or well, full, it was the 2 part of our 112. So we took 30 shares up here and then 30 shares all the way down here on that slippage. So I did the math a little bit earlier. It ended up being a 9-cent difference in our average. So once it continued down just a little bit further, but then it started to come back up. I was seeing if it wanted to go down towards that 38 area again and maybe test VWAP, but it felt like it was just done right there around 30. So I jumped out. We actually got 38.38 as our fill there. So it still ended up being a green trade, but it just wasn't exactly how I had planned it. And it just goes to show you that if I would have just got full size right away, like I had planned it, then we would have been fine. So we're going to talk about all of this tonight for the Friday night live stream. So make sure you're there, 10:30 Eastern. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If I don't see you tonight, have a good weekend. And if you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. And I'll catch you either tonight or Monday morning. Peace.